Hey guys, welcome to class. My name is Michelle. I'll be leading you through this session today. So we're going to start in a seated position. One ankle crossed in front of the another is great. And I would like to talk a little bit today about Yoga Sutra 1.14. So I'm going to use my Secret of the Yoga Sutra book to read to you today. This is by my teacher Pandit at the Himalayan Institute. So 1.14 states that becomes firm only when done for a long period of time with no interruption and with reverence. So let me read to you for a bit. From a practical standpoint, abhyasa, the ardent effort to cultivate a peacefully flowing mind free of all its roaming tendencies, can be divided into two parts. The process of withdrawing the mind from the objective world and turning it inward, and the process of focusing the mind inward and preventing it from running back to the objective world. Withdrawing the mind from the external world and turning it inward is difficult. There are two reasons why. The first is our deep familiarity with the external world. This is what we know. This is where we were born. We live here, we will die here. Our concepts of loss and gain, failure and success are defined by the external world and confined to it. We experience it as complete, as solid. Our belief in the reality of this world is unshakable. In short, it is extremely difficult to let go of the external world. The second reason we find it so hard to turn the mind inward is that we know very little about the inner dimensions of life. The little we do know is based on momentary intuitive flashes or what others have said. Because we have no direct experience of inner reality, we are not fully convinced it exists. For most of us, the inner world has no substance. Our belief in it is undermined by doubt. We are curious about the inner world, but the idea of becoming established in it seems far-fetched. As a result, we have never made it a priority to explore the inner world and stay there for any length of time. Unless we are convinced of the importance of knowing our inner world, we will never invest significant time and energy in exploring it. And unless we practice persistently over a long period of time, the habits created by our practice will never become strong enough to overcome the habits that distract, stupefy, and disturb our mind. Most of us have the same complaint. We don't have enough time. But curiously enough, this complaint applies only to our practice. We have plenty of time for eating, sleeping, traveling, working, shopping, socializing, and entertaining ourselves. We have no shortage of time for worry, fear, anxiety, insecurity. Smartphones, iPads, and Facebook devour substantial chunks of our time, and we have no problem with that. But when it comes to practice, we feel pressed for time. Why? While busily embroiled in our lives, we rarely pause to reflect that the mind gives us the ability to engage in all these activities that seem so pressing. If we lose our mind, what are we? The world is organized only when we have an organized mind. It is a wonderful place only when we have a positive mind. For someone with a confused and negative mind, the world is chaotic and ugly. Worldly objects and achievements are meaningful only when our mind is tranquil and clear. Our professional skills depend on the mind's retentive power. We excel only because we have a mind with the power of sharp, linear thinking. We are humans. We are humans, and above all species, only because we have a powerful mind. What is more important than understanding the dynamics of this powerful mind and keeping it healthy, organized, and sharp? What is more urgent than protecting it from inner unrest and stupor? What takes precedence over preventing our mind from being consumed by fear, anger, jealousy, greed, and endless cravings? If we ever stop and actually on how crucial it is to restore our mind to a clear, peaceful state, we will find plenty of time for practice. Our practice becomes firm only when we do it, and only a firm practice can guarantee that we will conquer the mind's roaming tendencies. So take a minute here to let that sink in. How are you showing up for yourself today? You are by being on your mat, by watching this video. And how will you show up for yourself tomorrow? Let's gently tilt the head to the right and let the left ear lift up towards the ceiling. You can even take the right hand and gently suggest it a little further towards the right shoulder as you breathe into the left side of the neck here. And then gently lift your head back through center and let it tilt over to the left shoulder. Right ear is lifting upward. And again, if you'd like, you can take the hand and gently suggest it a little further towards the left shoulder. And lift the head back through center and tilt the chin towards the chest. You can even take your hands, gently weight the back of the neck down a little further. And then lift the chest, bring your elbows back, lift the sternum, lean the head back into the hands, and take a few deep breaths this way. Press the elbows back into space. Find some length through the chest. And then release your hands to your thighs. I just want you to do a seated cat-cow. So push around the back, tuck your chin in. And on your inhale, lift the sternum towards the front. Again, exhale, hug everything in, round your back. And inhale, arch your back. And do this a couple more times with your breath. Connect your breath to the movement. Good, and now I just want you to start to make some circles with the torso. Bring the torso to the right, forward, to the left, back. We're just going to the right side to start, about 5 times in one direction. Really exaggerate this movement through the torso. Good, and then let's stop and take it over to the left now. Make those big circles. Inhale, reach your arms up through center. Exhale, take the twist to the right. Left hand comes outside the thigh. Sit up nice and tall and then start to turn from the torso more than the head. Inhale, reach your arms up through center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. Let's open this practice with the sound of Om. Take a deep breath through your nose. Come to the front of your mat into all fours, tabletop position. So take your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Spread your fingers really wide. And from here, I want you to extend the right leg straight back, point the toes. And draw little tiny circles with that leg. Feel the right glute and hamstring start to activate. And make sure you go in the other direction about 5 times. And then you'll hold the leg long, reach through the right toes and reach the left arm forward. Find your breath here. For 3. For 2. And 1. Release the hand and knee. Let's sway the hips a bit side to side. And then we'll go right into the other side. When you're ready, find stillness in the hips. Extend your left leg straight back. You're engaging your glute and you're going to little tiny circles. Really little. 5 times in one direction. Keep reaching reaching through those left toes as if somebody's pulling you backwards. And then take the circle 5 times in the other direction. Really tiny. Good. Once you've done all those 5, you're going to reach your right arm forward, find length. Hold it here. Find the breath for 3. For 2. And 1. Release that hand and knee to the floor. Let's curl the toes under and start to lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So you can keep your hips high, your heels high, your knees bent, and start to bring your ribs towards your thighs. Push into the floor. Feel the tailbone growing up towards the ceiling. And then gently walk your feet forward. Step your feet as wide as your mat and let the upper body hang down towards the lower body here. Now if you'd like, you can take opposite elbows or just let the arms dangle. And then we'll start to shift weight into the toes and then the heels a few times. So shift forward and back. Just beginning to feel the distribution of weight through the feet. And then we'll take a little bend in the knees and roll up nice and slow. 1 vertebrae at a time. From here, we're going to take crisscross ankles. So right ankle is crossing behind the left ankle. Arms reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, hands to the ceiling, and exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, look up. Take a step back with your right foot, uncross. Left foot steps back, high plank. Shift your weight forward, shoulders come in front of your wrist, bend your elbows, lower down, low plank. Inhale, lift your chest, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now right leg lifts up towards the ceiling. Pull the knee into the chest, step the foot between the hands and look forward. Cross your left ankle behind the right, lengthen the spine, and then fold over those legs. Inhale, push into your feet, reach the arms up. Exhale again, fold over the legs. Inhale, flat back, look up. Now left foot steps back, uncross. Right foot steps back, uncross, high plank. Shift your weight forward, bend the elbows, low plank. Inhale, lift the chest, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog here and breathe. Good, let's lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward between the hands, walk or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to rise, arms reach up. Exhale, hands come down by your side. From here, bend your knees, reach your arms up, chair pose. Today, I want you to think about taking your pinkies together, thumbs away from each other, palms behind you, and then sit down low. So that pelvis is neutral, the tailbone's going straight down towards the floor. It's okay if your knees go slightly over your ankles. Squeeze those knees together, hold it for 3. For 2. And exhale, fold over the legs. 1. Inhale, flat back. Hands down, walk or hop back, high to low plank. Exhale. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lifts up towards the ceiling. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Put a little more weight into the right hand. Drop that right shoulder down. Then extend the right leg straight. Pull the knee into the chest. Step the foot forward. Warrior 1. Do that same thing with the hands. Palms are behind you or facing behind you. Pinkies in, thumbs out. Exhale, hands to the floor. Right foot steps back. Go straight to down dog. Right away, left leg lifts up. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Look slightly under your left arm. And then extend the leg straight. Pull the knee in, step the foot forward. Again, lower that right heel, reach up, palms back. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Good, find your breath. If you'd like to drop into child's pose, take a few breaths in child's pose. Sit to your heels. Relax the forehead down. If you're in child's pose, keep your arms active here. So you lift your elbows off the floor if you can. come forward and come back to down dog if you're in child's pose. Lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale to rise, arms reach up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bend your knees, come into chair pose. So squeeze those knees together. Sit down nice and low. We've been here before. See if you can lift the chest up. Take a deep breath in and exhale, twist to the right. So left elbow comes outside that right knee. You want to make sure here that the left knee is in line with your right knee. So if it's not, pull that left knee back in line with the right. Sit down just a little bit deeper, squeeze those knees together, and then pull the belly off the thigh. All right, you're going to stay here for 3, for 4, 1 more deep breath, and 5. Inhale, extend the legs and arms. Give yourself a break for a second, and then exhale, bend the knees right back into that chair. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, twist to the left. Right elbow comes outside the thigh. Now again, you want to pull the belly off the thigh so you're not resting the whole torso on the thigh. Make sure those knees are even. Squeeze those knees together. Hold it for 3, for 4, for 5. Inhale, extend arms and legs. Exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, lengthen. Hands down, step back. You can go through a vinyasa or go straight to down dog like me. From here, lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward again, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold deeper. Inhale to rise, arms reach up. Exhale, hands by your sides. So we're going to add on to that chair twist. Bend the knees, hands together at heart center. Take a deep breath in and twist to the right. So take that elbow outside the thigh. Now hold it here. I want you to shift weight into your right foot. Start to feel weightless in your left foot. And on your next inhale, big step back into a lunge twist. So again, pull the torso away from the thigh. So you're not resting the whole belly there. You want to pull away from it. Hold it here for 3, for 4, and 5. Now both hands frame the right foot and take a big step back to down dog. Lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, walk or hop to the front of your mat. You know what's coming. Lengthen and exhale, fold. Same thing other side. Reach up. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in and twist to the left. Right elbow comes outside the thigh, hands together. Press those palms together. Feel weightless in that right foot. And on your next inhale, big step back. Breathe here. Again, see if you can pull the torso off the thigh. Find strength there. For 3, for 2, and 1. Both hands come down. Step back, downward facing dog. All right, from here, right leg lifts up towards the ceiling. Exhale, pull the knee forward. Step it forward, warrior 2. Left heel lowers down, arms reach out wide. So find your best warrior 2 here. Position that right knee right over the ankle if possible, so you get a 90-degree angle in that leg. All right, and press through the feet. Reach through the fingers. And then extend the right leg straight. Reach and tip forward, Utthita Trikonasana. Right hand can be on the shin today. Left arm reaches up. Find some length here through the side body and then pull the torso back over the thigh. Look down and press into your feet. You're going to come all the way up to stand and then turn your toes in. Heels are slightly out, hands to your hips. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Lean back, press your hips forward, and then hinge forward from the waist. Hands under your shoulders, flat back, look up. Exhale, start to walk your hands back so the heels of the hands are in line with the heels of the feet. And start to lean way forward into your toes. Inhale, walk your hands back under your shoulders, flat back, and then walk to the front of your mat. Let your toes turn with you Bend your right knee, step it back, downward facing dog. You're gonna lift that right leg all the way up again. Bend the knee and open up the hip. From here, you can stay there or flip the dog. Right foot steps back, left arm reaches forward. Press your pelvis up and reach your right arm up and over your ear. For 3, for 2, and 1. Both hands down, right leg lifts. You're gonna pull it back to the chest and step it forward. Find length through the spine and then inhale to rise up to crescent lunge. We're gonna revolve this crescent. You're gonna take your right hand behind your back, lift your left arm up, and then look towards your right heel. Find your breath here. Good, then spin your left heel down, take it back to warrior 2. Nice, you're gonna take your right hand down to the floor. Right arm comes up towards the ceiling. Parsvakonasana, letter B. Now you can stay right here. You can even have your forearm on your thigh today. Right, if you wanna take a bind, take your left arm behind your back, your right arm underneath that right thigh. Reach for your left wrist, and then pull down on your left wrist as you lean the torso back. You're like leaning back a bit. Now you can stay here or start to straighten that leg into a bound triangle. Nice, rebend the knee, take your right hand down, your left arm up. And then take it into regular triangle, start to extend the leg. Now your hand can be in the front, in the back, grab the toes, on your shin. You have several options for this triangle. Do what feels right for your body. Nice, and then both hands come to frame that right foot. Turn your left toes forward and then step it up a bit. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, fold over that right leg. Chin to shin, or nose to knee. So in Parsvakonasana here, you want to make sure that the pelvis is even. Sometimes it helps to take your hand on top of your sacrum. You might be able to feel if you're a little wonky, and you could self-adjust there if you feel some unevenness. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, bend your front knee, and then take a step back, down dog. So let's do all of that on the other side. Left leg lifts up towards the ceiling, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee to the chest, step the foot forward, lower that right heel, and come up to warrior 2. So arms come out to a T. Bend your right knee deeply. Press the left knee back into space. You're pressing through the outer edge of that right foot, but also rooting firmly into the front foot. And then extend the left leg, reach into forward, left hand comes down, right arm comes up for a triangle pose. Reach that right fingers up, pull the torso back. Nice, and then look down and then push into the floor, come up to stand and turn the left toes in again. This time we're gonna interlace the fingers behind the seat. Reach your fists down as you press your hips forward and then press your hips back as you lean forward. Reach the crown of the head down as the hands come up and over your head. Now maybe you can get the hands to touch the floor in front of your head, right? So start to shift the weight forward a little more. You release or relax through the shoulders. Good, and then release your hands. Inhale, flat back. Walk your hands to the front of your mat, let your toes turn with you. Step your left foot back, down dog, and then lift the left leg up and back. From here, you're gonna open up the hip again. You can stay right there or drop it back. Flip the dog, same thing here. Reach the left arm forward, press your hips up, up, up. For 3, for 4, and 5. Both hands come to the floor, left leg lifts up and back. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest, step the foot between the hands, crescent, low lunge, into high lunge, arms reach up. Find a nice bend in that front knee, back heel is super high, and then you'll take the left arm behind your back, reach your right arm up and over, and start to turn the gaze towards your right heel. Good, find the breath here, make it smooth and even. And then spin your right heel down, arms come back to a T, Back to that warrior two. From here, left hand comes down on the floor, right arm comes up. On Konasana B, right arm reaches up. Now stay here, or take the right arm behind the back, left arm underneath the thigh, reach for the right wrist with the left hand. Pull down on the wrist so that you lean the torso over that left thigh a little more. Option to start straightening that left leg. Good. You can rebend the knee, left hand comes down, right arm reaches up, and then take it into triangle pose. So start to extend the left leg again. Good, and then both hands come down, frame the left foot. Step your back foot up just a bit so you can square those hips. You might even want to step your feet a little wider towards the long edges of your mat. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. And find the breath again. Inhale, flat back. And then hands to your hips, come all the way up to stand. Right foot steps forward. All right, so we're gonna go into a little bit of balance. We'll probably have some different levels here. So I'll try to cue all levels here. Left foot is gonna be on the floor, right knee is up into the chest. Option one is to hug the shin in towards the chest. Stand up nice and tall. Option two, take the peace fingers around the right big toe, right peace fingers, right big toe, left hand to hip. Stay here. Option three is taking Padangustasana letter A. Utthita Padangustasana. Extend the leg, pull the toes back so right shoulder comes into the shoulder joint. And let's take just a few breaths here. Find your balance, find your drishti, so your focal point. Imagine those shoulders are stacked right on top of hips. Good, and we're gonna move this into letter B, okay? So if your leg is straight, you're just gonna move it out to the right. Excuse me, if you have the toe bind, I would suggest taking your hand to your shin. And you're gonna take the knee to the right side. Whew. So you might notice your balance becomes a little more challenging once you move it, right? If you have the toes, you're gonna just move it out to the right. You have the option here making it even more challenging for yourself and turning the gaze over the left shoulder. So just a few more breaths here. And then come through center on the inhale. Now if your knee is bent, just keep your hand on the shin. And you're gonna exhale, try to bring your nose to your knee. Same thing if your leg is straight. Inhale, exhale, nose to your knee. Or chin to shin. So you're like hugging into a little ball, just take a few breaths that way. Inhale, lift the torso back up. Now you can keep your knee bent and reach your arms up, or keep your legs straight, and let's take 3 big breaths together. 1, 2, lift it up even higher. 3, exhale, foot to the floor, release. How did we do? Good? All right, we're gonna do the other side. Shift the weight into the right foot, lift the left knee up. You have the same options here. You're grabbing the big toe with your peace fingers. You're taking your hand to your shin, whatever you need to do here. Or you can extend it straight. Pull the shoulder back if you have that leg extended, and find your breath. Find that focal point and don't move your eyes from it. That is crucial. Right? The more you're moving your eyes around the room, the more you're looking at things, the harder this balance will be. Unless you want that challenge today. Good, and then we're gonna take the knee or the leg out to the side. Utthita Hastam Padangustasana, letter B. Maybe turning that gaze over the right shoulder. Look to center and start to bring your leg or knee back to the front. Now take a deep breath in and exhale, round forward. So use your abdominal muscles. You want to think navel into spine, rounding forward, nose to knee or chin to shin. Hold it there for 3, for 2, and 1. Lift the chest. Now you're going to release the toes, reach your arms up. Your knee can be bent, hold it. Push down through that standing leg, grow taller through the crown of the head for 3, for 2, and 1. Let's release it. Shake it out. Good job, you guys. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Turn your toes out slightly. Let's come in down into a squat. Hands together, heart center. Press your knees out wide with those elbows. Reach up through the crown of the head. You have the option of staying here or coming into crow. Place your hands on the floor, butt shoulder width, and start to bend your elbows straight back. Bring your knees super high into your underarms and lean weight into your hands. Lift one foot or the other foot. Hold it here. Try to bring those feet together to touch. Think about somebody pulling you up from your back for 3, 2, shoot it back, 1. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Good. Let's come to our seat. Drop your knees. Do a little Navasana boat work. So you're going to come to your seat. Bend your knees into your chest. Now you can grab behind your thighs to start, or maybe you want to keep it that way. Or reach your arms forward. And then we'll extend the legs if you've got it. Navasana. Pull the shoulders back. Lift the chest or the heart up towards the legs. Good. Now let's lower down to low boat. Press the lower back into the floor. Keep the feet and the shoulders up off the ground. Hold it here. Scoop the abs in. Good. Now we're going to move through this. Exhale, knees to chest. You can have your hands down on the floor. We're going to do this 10 times. Inhale, extend, lengthen. Exhale, knees in. If you want to make it harder, reach your arms forward. Exhale in. For 3. For 4. Find the breath. For 5. Squeeze those knees together for 6. For 7. For 8. For 9, 1 more. 10, now you're going to go back to low boat, hold it for 10, 9, 8, don't hold the breath, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend everything long, give yourself a little break as you lift the ribs up towards the ceiling. Reach the arms overhead, point your toes, reach through your fingers. Good. And then when you're ready, rock yourself up. We're coming back down to our hands and knees. We'll actually come down onto our forearms. So we're just going to do a few forearm to dolphin. So you want to make sure that your palms are on the floor. Forearms rather, are parallel with one another. Okay, so just make sure elbows are under shoulders. Forearms are parallel. And then extend the legs straight back. Forearm plank. Good, hold it here. Legs are strong, glutes are engaged. And then we're going to start to walk the feet up, walk the feet forward towards the elbows. Keep your heels high. Keep your shoulders on top of elbows. Walk until you can't walk any further. You can keep a little bend in your knees. Look between your hands and breathe here. Press the forearms into the floor, shoulders away from ears. And then gently walk your feet back, nice and slow, back to forearm plank. Hold it again. Good. One walk your feet forward, going back to dolphin. This time try to keep your legs a little straighter. Look between your hands. Now once you get into your dolphin, you can stay right here or lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Hold it, breathe. And then right leg lowers, left leg lifts, breathe. And if it's in your practice, you can always hop into a few Pinchamayurasana hops. So just take a few hops on one side, take a few hops on the other side, or hold dolphin. And when you're done, you can rest in child's pose. And lengthen the breath. We'll come up on to our knees. We're going to come into Virasana, so you're going to bring your knees together and separate your heels. And see if you can sit down right between your heels. Now this might not work for everyone, and if it doesn't work for you, just take it into Vajrasana just by sitting on your heels, Thunderbolt pose, right? Or Virasana, which is sitting between the heels. The top of the feet are completely on the floor. So for some, you might even want a blanket under this so that you can pad your feet a little bit. Right, and then just sit up nice and tall. If you're not planning on going back at all, you might want to take grab for opposite elbows here and see if you can kind of, once you lift the elbows up over your head, see if you can kind of soften the rib cage and just breathe. Lift the chin up so the chin is parallel to the ground. If you want to come all the way down, you can take your hands behind you and you can start to lower. I like to kind of lift my seat every few steps along the way. So I'm lifting and tucking my tailbone under, kind of getting my glute muscles out of the way, and then going all the way down into the back, and you can reach for opposite elbows over here when you're in supine position. If you're sitting upright and you have opposite elbows, why don't you reach your arms out and down, and then reach your arms back up and reach for the other elbow in front, and see if it feels any different. And even if you're all the way down in the back, you can do that same thing where you just take a different position with the hands. It might feel a little different in the shoulders and the chest. Good. And now if you're all the way down, begin to make your way back up. You're going to prop yourself onto your forearms, under your hands. Come back up nice and slow, probably slower than what I just did. And then extend the legs. So give them a little wiggle. And then we'll come down. Oh yeah, we're going to come down into some bridge or wheel. So lie on your back. Bring your feet underneath your knees on the floor, about hip distance apart, and then press down into your feet. Lift your lower, middle, and upper back off the ground. Press firmly and evenly into your feet. So sometimes in this position, our knees want to go out to the side. We want to roll into the outer edges of the feet. If that's happening to you, notice and start to put a little more energy into the inner thighs, like squeeze the inner thighs a bit, and press down more into the big toe, the inner arches of the feet. And then you can release on your next exhale, nice and slow towards the ground. We've got 2 more bridge or wheel, so you can do that same thing, bridge pose. If you want to try wheel or Dhanurasana, you're going to take your hands by your head, fingertips face down towards your feet, You're going to come under the crown of the head and wrap your elbows in. So this is a stopping point. If you're just working on it, maybe this is where you're at today, right? And then once you get here, you're going to press your elbows in towards each other. And on your inhale, lift by pressing into the hands and feet. Lift the belly up towards the ceiling. See if you can walk your hands back a bit towards your feet if you've been practicing a while. Good, and then tuck your chin and lower down nice and slow. Try not to fidget too much at the bottom. Did I just lose you guys? Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Good, okay. I think my earpods just died. All right, so one more time, bridge your wheel, hands by your head, come to the crown of the head, exhale the breath, and inhale, lift up. Go ahead, and then when you're ready, tuck the chin and lower it back down, nice and slow. Feet are as wide as your mat, knees are dropping in towards each other. Good, and let's take an easy twist. Drop your knees to the right. You can even stack the knees if you'd like. And then open your left arm out to the side in line with your shoulder. Left shoulder blade is on the floor. Just breathe into this left side body here. Sometimes I even like to just take my hand right here on the left side, my ribs. Just kind of breathe into the hand. Bring a little more awareness that way into this space right here. Good, and let's come back through center. Hips are gonna go to the right a bit, knees drop to the left. Keep the right shoulder blade down. And breathe through this right side. Come back through center. Grab behind your thighs. Rock and roll front to back from your tailbone to your shoulders. See if you can resist the urge to keep your to lower the feet on the floor when you come to the top. Just hover your heels for a little balance. Good, and then we'll rock all the way up to a seated position. And from here, we're going to take a wide-legged stance. Upistha Konasana, feet are flexed. Inhale, lengthen through the spine here, and then start to walk your hands forward. You can come down onto your forearms, but you want to think about the hips rolling backwards. So what happens is when I start to go forward, I have a lot of flexibility in my legs, right? But when I start to go forward and I'm not thinking about it, the toes turn in, the inner thighs turn in. But I want you to really think about rooting down through the pelvis here. So you want to think external rotation in those upper thighs and only hinge as far as you can, keep that rotation. So once you start to internally rotate, you stop right before that and breathe there. Good, and then walk yourself up. Now we're gonna take like a Virasana variation. So you're gonna bend your right knee up and take the top of the right foot on the floor. Okay, and then from here, left forearm's coming down. It can be behind the left leg. It can be on a block, whatever you need. It can be on the leg. And then a right arm reaches up and over. So I want you to find length here through the side body. Make sure you're not collapsing down towards the floor. So everything is almost lifting up. It even helps sometimes to like just take your hand to your shoulder and just kind of open this way. Instead of going for the toes, it's more about up towards the ceiling, if that makes sense. Up and over. And keep this right sit bone rooted down. Sometimes in this position it will want to kind of lift up with the lean. See if you can keep it rooted and only lean as far as you can keep it rooted. And then inhale, come back up. And we'll do the other side. So just extend the right leg and the left knee up, and then take the top of the foot down. So like a half Virasana. Right forearm comes down, left arm comes up and over. Same thing here. Maybe you just want to take your hand to your shoulder without extending the lever too much. That's okay too. Good, and then let's lift up. We'll do a second Upavista Konasana, so feet are flexed. Maybe this one's a little different for you. If you want to reach your arms forward with straight arms, hinge forward from the waist. You can even have your hands back or your arms up overhead, challenging yourself. And then walk yourself back upright. Take the soles of the feet together, knees out wide. And flutter your knees a bit for a second. Just a little flutter, a little butterfly. And then we'll hinge forward. So find stillness in the knees and then hinge. Lead with the heart. So in order for our practice to be effective, we must regularly and sincerely work at it. Right? So in the tradition I was trained, in the Himalayan tradition, they have what's called an MDR, a minimum daily requirement. I might have talked about it with you guys before, but I just think it's so beneficial. So your MDR is something that's super simple, right? But something that you want. Like maybe you want to be able to meditate. So maybe your MDR is meditating for 2 minutes a day, right? Like 2 minutes, like something very achievable that you know you won't fail at. So that's kind of the idea of that. So maybe these last minutes of class, you can kind of think of what your MDR might be, or what you could choose if you want to do that. And then inhale, come back up. And we're going to come back to our long ways on our mat, and we're just going to end with Halasana. Now, if Halasana is not in your practice, just lift your legs straight up towards the ceiling and keep the feet flexed. If you want to do Halasana, lift your hips off the floor, bring the toes behind the head, bend your elbows, hands at your lower back for some support. Fingertips are up towards the ceiling. Now, if your toes touch the floor behind your head, then you can release your hands in the opposite way and interlace your fingers and reach your fist away from your feet. But if your toes are still off the floor here, I would suggest keeping your hands at your lower back to support your body, and then maybe even using your hands to kind of press your hips back towards your face so that your feet can eventually land on the floor. Find a little length through the back of the neck here so that your chest is not completely shutting off from your airway. Good, and then you'll release your hands and start to roll it down. Now, if your legs were straight up in the air, you're going to lower your feet as well. Everyone's going to lengthen the legs out long on the mat, and let's end in fish. Prop yourself up on your forearms, reach the crown of the head backwards, and see if you can get the crown down on the floor. Now, if your head is up here away from the floor, lower your elbows towards your feet and see if you're able to arch the back and get the head down. There's a activation center right in the crown of the head that is, if you're not putting pressure there, you're not quite activating it as this pose is intended. So just breathe. Take 2 more breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose. 1 more deep breath in. Exhale, tuck your chin to chest, lower your head down to the floor, and let's end in your final relaxation. So extend your arms and legs long on your mat. Setting up if you need any, maybe you want to put socks back on or a sweatshirt back on. Just surrender here into the floor. The work is done. And sometimes this is the hardest work, is just to relax, right? That becomes firm only when done for a long period of time, with no interruption and with reverence. The practice of retaining the peaceful flow of mind for a prolonged period without interruption and with reverence creates the subtle impressions or samskaras of tranquility. As they mature, these samskaras influence the functions and behavior of our own mind in a peaceful and illuminating manner. They guide us by training our mind from deep within. In this way, the subtle mental impressions created by abhyasa transform the mind, awakening the power of discernment and eventually guiding the mind to reach samadhi. Bring yourself back into this space. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll onto one side, rest your head in your arms. And then make your way to a comfortable seat in your time. Good, keeping the mind inward, keep the eyes closed or the gaze soft. And start to think about some little things you could do to practice regularly, to practice daily. What could you include or add to your routine? And again, the idea is to make it a easily attainable goal, something that you can conquer. Not something so far-fetched that you won't be able to reach every day. Good. Well, join your hands together in front of your heart and gently bow your chin to your chest, your head to your heart. Let's end with the sound of Om just one time. You can join me or just listen. So take a deep breath in through the nose. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Namaste. Thank you guys for sharing your practice with me.